Luna's Bedtime Stories. Episode 4, Luna the Runaway Cat. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room. Birds chirped outside, signaling the start of a new day. Inside Sunny's cozy home, a sense of excitement and contentment hung in the air. It was day 2 of the sleepover with her darling friends, Emma, May, Chloe, and of course, her best friend Luna. Sunny yawned and stretched, feeling the pleasant soreness from sleeping on the living room floor with Luna, her sleek black cat, nestled beside them. As they blinked away sleep, memories of the previous night flooded back. Giggles echoing through the house, pillow fights that had escalated into fits of laughter and the sweet taste of popcorn and candy. Sunny turned to find Luna already awake, her big, beautiful green eyes gleaming tenderly. The cat gave a little stretch too, her tail swishing back and forth, conveying a sense of feline satisfaction. It was as if Luna had enjoyed the company of Sunny's friends just as much as everyone else. With a sigh of contentment, Sunny sat up and glanced around the room. Sleeping bags were strewn about, a testament to the fun-filled evening they had all shared. She could hear the soft snores of her friends still emanating from the living room, a sign that waking them up might take a bit of effort. Luna, sensing the opportunity for mischief, jumped onto the nearest sleeping bag and gave it a playful swat with her paw. The sleeping bag rustled, and Emma's sleepy voice emerged from within, muffled by fabric. "Luna, no, go away." Sunny chuckled and reached down to scoop up Luna, who purred in protest, but allowed herself to be carried. They made their way over to the window, where the sun's rays had warmed a spot on the carpet. Setting Luna down, Sunny opened the window just a crack to let in the fresh morning breeze. Meanwhile, in the living room, the sounds of movement and groggy voices grew louder. One by one, Emma, May, and Chloe emerged from their cozy sleeping bags, rubbing their eyes and stretching. Emma was the first to sit up, her dark curls slightly tousled from sleep. "Morning, everyone," she greeted with a yawn. May and Chloe exchanged amused glances as they joined the land of the awake. May's hair, usually slicked back in a ponytail, was sticking up in all directions, while her hand reached around for her glasses. "I can't believe we all fell asleep watching movies," Chloe said, her voice still drowsy. Sunny entered the living room with Luna trailing behind them, and everyone's attention turned to them. Luna leapt onto the couch, curling up like a regal queen overseeing her domain. "Good morning, sleepyheads," Sunny greeted, their smile infectious. Emma chuckled, ruffling her hair into some semblance of order. "You guys really know how to throw a sleepover." As the morning continued, the group gradually transitioned from sleepy-eyed mumbles to full-fledged conversations and laughter. Breakfast was a relaxed affair prepared by Mrs. Yu, with cereal and scrambled eggs served amidst stories of dreams. The sleepover had been in full swing since the previous evening, with Sunny, Emma, May, and Chloe reveling in the joy of each other's company. The living room was filled with laughter, snacks, and a movie marathon that had stretched into the late hours. But as morning dawned, the group decided to take advantage of the beautiful day and move their activities outside. The backyard was a haven of greenery and sunshine, a perfect setting for a day of fun and games. They spread out a large blanket and brought out board games, cards, and even a frisbee. Luna curiously observed the commotion from a comfortable perch on the windowsill. She peered out at the 4 little girls from the safety of her home. Laughter filled the air as they played frisbee, their competitive spirits turning the simple game into a boisterous competition. The frisbee sailed through the air, cutting graceful arcs against the backdrop of blue sky. Sunny's throw was met with Chloe's impressive catch, earning a chorus of cheers from their friends. Emma's turn came next, her focused expression turning into a triumphant grin as the frisbee landed perfectly in May's outstretched hands. Luna's tail twitched as she watched the colorful disc sailing through the air, her green eyes fleeting back and forth. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the girls grew hot and sweaty, so they decided to cool off with a water balloon fight. Sunny dashed back inside and up to her bedroom, frantically searching for the package of balloons to fill. "Here they are!" Luna heard Sunny shout from upstairs. She watched as her owner sprinted past her once more. Balloons were filled, laughter bubbled, and the backyard transformed into a battlefield of splashes and shrieks of joy. Laughter erupted anew as the girls dashed around the yard, dodging and throwing balloons with gleeful abandon. Luna, intrigued by the splashes of water and the joyful chaos, crept closer to the action. Sunny grabbed a handful of water balloons and lobbed one at Chloe, who squealed and retaliated with a well-aimed throw. Luna, caught up in the excitement, pounced on a balloon that had landed nearby, batting at it playfully. The girls cheered, amused by Luna's antics. Emma gently picked up a balloon and offered it to Luna, who swatted at it with her paw before losing interest and darting away. And then, in a heartbeat, the mood shifted from carefree jubilation to panic. Luna, driven by a sudden impulse, leapt over the fence and into the neighboring yard. The girls froze, their smiles fading as they realized what had just happened. "Wait, Luna!" Sunny cried out, their heart racing. The others exchanged worried glances, their fun suddenly overshadowed by concern for the adventurous black cat. "Sunny, I think she's heading towards that alley behind the houses," Chloe exclaimed, her voice tense. Without a second thought, the group rushed to the front of the house and sprinted down the street, hearts pounding as they followed Luna's trail. Luna's escape had been sudden and fueled by a burst of curiosity that overpowered her usually cautious nature. At first, the world outside seemed filled with wonders she had only ever glimpsed from behind windows or through the slats of the fence. The fresh breeze carried with it the scents of the neighborhood, the earthy fragrance of grass, the distant aroma of cooking meals, and the occasional whiff of flowers in bloom. Luna's paws padded across the pavement, her curiosity driving her forward. She encountered a world of new sounds, the distant hum of cars, the chirping of birds in the trees, and the laughter of children playing in nearby yards. Her ears swiveled this way and that, trying to take in every sound. As she ventured deeper into the neighborhood, Luna encountered other creatures that had piqued her interest. Squirrels darted up trees, their fluffy tails swishing enticingly. A bold blue jay perched on a fence post, its vivid colors capturing Luna's attention. Despite her cautious nature, Luna couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement at the sight of these potential playmates. However, as Luna explored further, the unfamiliar sights and sounds started to overwhelm her senses. Loud cars zoomed by, their engines rumbling, and their suddenness made her heart race. Luna crouched low, her instincts urging her to find a safer place. She squeezed through a gap in a fence and found herself in a quiet alley. The towering walls on either side felt like protective barriers, shielding her from the hustle and bustle of the neighborhood. Luna cautiously continued forward, her eyes darting around, searching for familiar scents and the reassuring presence of her humans. Back at home, Sunny's heart sank as she and her friends looked around. "Where could Luna be?" she asked, her voice tinged with worry. The others exchanged puzzled glances, realizing that Luna was definitely lost. Panic set in as they searched the entire block, calling her name and checking every nook and cranny, but Luna remained elusive. "Maybe she's just hiding somewhere," Chloe suggested, trying to sound reassuring as they returned back to the living room. She began lifting pillows off the couch and opening all the closet doors in hopes for the tiny black cat. Their concern deepened, and their attempts to locate her grew more frantic. As time stretched on, the day's joy was overshadowed by the heavy weight of worry. The girls took turns going outside, calling Luna's name, hoping against hope to catch a glimpse of her sleek black form. Sitting on her bed, surrounded by the comforting familiarity of her room, Sunny's emotions spilled over. Tears welled up in their eyes, and her shoulders shook with silent sobs. The weight of the uncertainty and fear she had experienced throughout the day was finally catching up to her. Sunny reached for her phone and dialed a familiar number. It was answered after a few rings by her mother's gentle voice, who had stepped out briefly to the post office. "Hello, sweetheart," Mrs. Yu said softly. "Mom?" Sunny's voice wavered as she tried to steady herself. "It's Luna. She ran out of the house, and I don't know where she went." Mrs. Yu's tone shifted immediately, infused with empathy. "Oh, my dear. I should have never left you all alone. This is all my fault. Are you okay?" Sunny's voice trembled as she recounted the day's events, taking full responsibility for leaving the back door open for Luna's easy escape. Her mother listened patiently, offering words of comfort as Sunny's tears flowed freely. After sharing their ordeal, Sunny wiped her tears and took a shaky breath. I thought she liked staying with us. I don't know why she would run away like that. Did she hate me?" "Don't be silly, dear," Mrs. Yu replied, her voice soothing. "Curiosity gets the best of animals sometimes. She couldn't have gotten far. I'm almost home and will help you find her. I'm sure she's just as eager to get back home. Luna's a little scaredy cat after all." Sunny nodded and hung up the call, hopeful that her mother would solve the day's problems. Emma, May, and Chloe looked at Sunny with remorse that they couldn't help alleviate their friend's situation. Hours passed as Luna navigated her way through the unfamiliar territory, her excitement gradually giving way to uncertainty. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch out and magnify the darkness settling over the alley. Her stomach let out a soft growl. It was nearing dinner time and she was starving. She looked around, but there was no food in sight. Even if there had been scraps of some time, Luna was only accustomed to eating pet food bought from the store. But her first priority was to return back home to Sunny. Oh, why couldn't she recall where Sunny's home was? Her years of being domesticated in a pet store had taught her no survival skills, and she was beginning to grow frightened as the sun set more and more. There was no point in her staying in this one spot. Luna decided to keep looking for her home despite being unsure whether she was moving further and further away. As Luna moved cautiously along, her ears perked up at the sudden rustling of leaves nearby. She froze, and her sweet green eyes widened as she detected movement. Out from behind a bush emerged a raccoon, its masked face peering curiously at the black cat. Luna's heart raced with fear. Raccoons were creatures she had only glimpsed from the safety of windows, and now she found herself face to face with one. Her instincts told her to flee, but a mixture of curiosity and uncertainty kept her frozen in place. This creature looked similar to her, but not quite. It was bigger, with different shade patterns across its body. Luna was fascinated. The raccoon, however, seemed unperturbed by Luna's presence. It tilted its head and its bright eyes briefly studied Luna. Slowly, the raccoon approached her. Luna's muscles remained tense, her tail fluffed up in a mix of apprehension and curiosity. She refrained from hissing or pulling out her claws. She knew that she was all talk and no bite anyway. She simply stayed still and watched as the raccoon came closer, its movements deliberate and non-threatening. Then the raccoon emitted a soft, chittering noise, almost like a greeting. It was a sound Luna had never heard before, but she instinctually understood it was not hostile. For a few moments, Luna and the raccoon regarded each other, two creatures from different worlds sharing an unexpected encounter. The raccoon courageously extended its paw first. This was a surprisingly gentle gesture which Luna sniffed carefully at. The raccoon's chittering grew more animated, and it even emitted a soft, trilling sound. Luna's fear receded as she observed the raccoon's gestures, sensing that it was extending an invitation to play or interact. With a burst of newfound courage, Luna reached out her own paw to touch the raccoons. The encounter had revealed a world beyond the safety of the yard, a world where unexpected connections could be forged and unlikely friendships could bloom. Luna's perception of the neighborhood had shifted, and the raccoon's friendly presence would forever remind her that even in unfamiliar territory, kindness and understanding could bridge the gaps between different creatures. The raccoon then went on its way, leaving Luna still alone to fend for herself. She considered calling out and asking for guidance on how to get home, but the raccoon had already disappeared. Luna was on her own, and she was determined to get back home all by herself if she had to. There was nothing to be afraid of, she told herself. Even the local raccoons were peaceful. As she walked down a street of residential houses, a car suddenly zoomed past her. Though the man was driving at a safe speed, the blubbering vehicle was enough to frighten Luna into the bushes and into someone's backyard. Luna's nose twitched as she detected a scent that suddenly piqued her curiosity. The fragrance was sweet and fruity, carried on the gentle breeze that rustled through the trees. Following her nose, Luna soon found herself in a neighbor's picture-perfect fruit garden. She padded softly across the neatly trimmed grass, her green eyes taking in the sight of lush foliage and the colorful fruits that adorned the trees. There were plump peaches, crimson apples, and clusters of grapes that hung tantalizingly within reach. Luna's tail flicked with interest as she approached a low-hanging branch laden with ripe peaches. The juicy scent filled her senses, and she couldn't resist reaching up to give one of the fruits a curious sniff. The peach's skin was soft and velvety beneath her touch, its aroma intoxicating. With a mixture of caution and longing, Luna extended her paw and batted at the peach, watching as it swayed on its branch. The fruit bobbed gently, as if teasing her with the promise of its succulent flesh. Encouraged by her initial interaction, Luna continued to explore the bounty of the backyard. She moved on to a nearby apple tree, her nose brushing against the smooth surface of an apple. The apple's scent mingled with the lingering aroma of the peach, creating a delightful symphony of fragrances. Luna's senses were fully engaged as she ventured further, her paw steps light and deliberate. She tiptoed through a bed of strawberry plants, their vibrant red berries gleaming in the fading light. Luna's nose hovered over the strawberries, each one a tiny treasure trove of scent. The neighbor's fruit garden had inadvertently become Luna's playground, a sanctuary of scents and textures that captured her attention and allowed her to momentarily forget that she was lost. She felt a connection to the earth, to the simple pleasures of nature's bounty, and to the beauty of the world around her. Although she was surrounded by all these sweets fresh for the taking, Luna had been raised well and knew better than to pick at things that didn't belong to her. Her years in the pet shop taught her that if she ate another's food, there would be problems, but sniffing at these captivating scents was harmless, right? As Luna perched on the grass, the home's owner noticed the lone black cat. Even in the fruit's shadows, her sweet round eyes were visible like glistening marble. The middle-aged man with glasses walked slowly into his backyard. He noticed right away that Luna had a collar and was not causing any harm to his garden. "Here, kitty," he spoke gently to her. Luna observed the neighbor just as she did the raccoon. With patience and a soft voice, the homeowner managed to approach Luna and gently lift her into his arms. Luna, though wary, allowed herself to be held. She could sense the neighbor's kindness and genuine concern. He plucked a tiny grape off its vine and fed it into her mouth. The man called the phone number listed on Luna's collar, which Mrs. Yu picked up immediately. And so, the adventure that had begun with curiosity and excitement ended with Luna being carried back to the place where she had ventured from. The neighborhood's sights and sounds were no longer an enchanting mystery, but a reminder that her true home was with Sunny and their friends. Exhausted and heartbroken, the four little girls were gathered on the porch, staring out into the dimming sky with a mixture of sadness and longing. And then, like a glimmer of hope, the kind neighbor appeared at the gate, holding something in his arms. Luna's sleek coat was ruffled, but it was without a doubt their precious cat. Her tiny face, naive and innocent as ever, had a hinge of guilt for causing so much mischief. "I found her wandering in my backyard," the man explained. "She seemed lost, so I thought I'd bring her back." He made eye contact with Mrs. Yu, who stood in the background, and the two shared a wink. Tears of relief and gratitude filled Sunny's eyes as she rushed forward to take Luna into her arms. "Thank you so much," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "Luna, you really gave us a scare." The girls let out a collective sigh of relief, their worry dissipating in the face of Luna's return. They gathered around with Luna now at the center of their circle, receiving affectionate pats and words of comfort. The events of the past day had cast a shadow over their sleepover, but now, as they clung to Luna, they felt the weight of worry lift. Back inside the house, Luna was given a royal welcome, her favorite treats, a warm bed, and the gentle reassurance of her humans. The sleepover, once again, was marked by a mix of emotions, but this time, it was the resilience of friendship and the boundless love for a furry companion that shone the brightest. As Luna was reunited with her worried companions, the memory of her escapade remained, a testament to her inquisitive spirit and the world beyond the safety of the backyard. And though her journey had been a brief one, it left a lasting impression on her as a reminder of how loved and cherished she was in this home. The